tell you, I was in Vandal Nation today, and if the fandom over there, if today's any indication, they're going to be wound up by Friday.
Okay, this is an honest question. Do they see Canton as big an opponent or rival as we see them?
At this point, no, only because we haven't played in a number of years. Right now, if you poll the people over there, Lindale is the number one rival.
That's what I thought.
Because they played every year.
They dominated us for 10 years. We had beaten them 10 years. And so when you start beating people that often for that long, you lose, you don't hate them as much anymore.
And it's kind of, I don't know that, I guess Grantland and Van used to be rivals way back then, and now it's like not even in the same, it's not even competitive.
You don't play, you don't play.
And then Edgewood and Grantland, I assume we're still rivals, but we don't play each other really. Like, I mean,
No.
when you and I were growing up, I mean, like we were all friends, but we hated each other for that.
During that week.
That week was just like, I mean, we dated, like I dated Mac's daughter.
Right.
Yeah. Mac's daughter I dated her before my sophomore year. I broke up because I can't date an Edgewood girl during football season.
Well, let me tell you, things are rough at my house. You know, I'm married to a Canton graduate.
You said she was looking for a ticket.
No, that's his daughter.
Yeah, no, yeah. My daughter is the one that I wouldn't get a ticket for.
That's right.
Yes, did you hear what I did?
No, what did you do?
Jillian came up to me over the weekend. She says, "Dad, will you buy me a ticket for the Canton band game?" And I said, "Which side you want to sit on?" She says, "I'm sitting on the Canton side." I said, "You're on your own, girl." And she said, "You mean that?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, if you think I'm gonna walk into Canton High School and buy you a ticket for the Canton band,
I haven't bought a ticket yet. I'm supposed to get 4, but I don't know.
You'll get in. You're the counselor.
This is one of those games where it's really too bad we've got coronavirus protocols, because I really believe without the protocols we'd be full on both sides Friday night.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Oh, there's no doubt.
We would have 5,000 people there.
I will tell you this. There will be a tailgate in Van, and there will be a Canton flag flying in the parking lot the entire football game.
People have waited for this a long time.
Yep.
At least these two towns. Of course, just these two towns have.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, and I kind of hope it stays this way, I think Van has kind of written Canton off for the season.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right now. I think the rest of not just Van. I think Bullard and I think Mejia have too. But and I hope it stays that way. But Canton, even if they lose to Van, the next week Van will be the biggest Canton fan in the county.
Yeah.
Wanting Canton to go beat Mejia to give them a shot at having a title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really.
If assuming Mejia beats Bullard, but
gosh, I think they will, but
I'll
guarantee.
I'll say this: Bullard better get their act together real quick, because I tell you, I think what's starting to affect Bullard right now is they hadn't had an off week. I mean, this Friday night will be their 10th straight game without a break. They're off next week. And I could see a few signs the other night that fatigue was starting to set in with them, especially with their defense. Of course, now Javante Thomas carrying the ball 39 times might have something to do with that.
Man, that's just smart coaching right there. I mean, Moffitt, you don't have to trick it up or reinvent the wheel. Give it to your guy who needs it.
give it to the Hoss.
And let him do it, man. And the best way I've heard the best way to get the ball to someone is hand it to him.
Yep. Well, or take the direct snap, which is what he does.
Yeah.
That Wildcat formation. But Javante the other night, he had 39 carries, but he was less than 4 yards per carry. But what the deal was, when they needed 2 yards, he made 3.
Mm-hmm.
When they needed 1 yard, he made 2. When they needed 3 yards, he made 4.
That tells me that Bullard knew it was coming and couldn't stop it.
Couldn't stop it.
The thing that I think when everybody's like, well, how did Bullard or how did Brownsboro score that many points on Mejia? Brownsboro and Mejia run a different offense from the other three. I mean, basically the rest of them, even though like Javante runs the ball, they still run out of the spread. Cade runs the ball, he runs out of the spread. And even when Bullard runs the ball, he's running out of the spread. Brownsboro and Mejia line up in that just everybody up there in the box and a little bit of misdirection, and then they pound it, and then, a half a dozen times a game, they pop one.
I'm going to guess that Mejia's version of the wing tee is better than Brownsboro, and you've seen them both now. But Brownsboro's doesn't look very effective or very timing.
Here's the thing with Mejia. You think you've got them stopped on first and second down and third down, they'll continue to run the ball 3rd and 5 or longer, and they'll make it. At least they did against Van.
Well, they only threw it 2 times.
2 times and completed one.
That tells you how committed they are.
Yeah, but it's not just that one running back who's terrific. That quarterback is a Houdini in the backfield. He can really fake you out.
Well, and it's that where he turns his back and you can't see which mailbox he's putting it in, and then the mailman take off and you don't know who's got
That's exactly right.
Who's got it? But I don't know. This is going to be this is going to be a fun Friday night at both games. I mean, because at the end of Friday night,
it could be clear cut after Friday night. If Mejia wins and Van wins Friday night, it's all set.
It's all set. If either one of those things don't happen, then it's still at play.
And if Van loses, Van's playing Brownsboro for 4th place this week.
That's what I was saying. Van could be, if Van wins Friday, Mejia wins Friday, Canton beats Mejia at home in the last game, Van's district champ. Van loses Friday, Van loses to Brownsboro, they don't go to the playoffs.
Right.
They could literally land anywhere, and there's less than 14 days left in the season. There's less than, 10 days left in the season.
And I'll guarantee you Van will get Brownsboro's best game.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what Brownsboro does.
And Brownsboro's had 2 weeks to get ready for it.
That's right.
And I'll tell you, Brownsboro's not what they did against Mejia wasn't a fluke. If you go watch, and you can go watch all this on YouTube, you go watch what Brownsboro did with Canton for the first quarter and a half. It was a game.
Yeah.
And like everything else, it seems to be, when the dam breaks, the water
that's right.
goes rushing out. But
that's right.
They ran more plays than Canton did in the first half, and for the game actually. Brownsboro ran more offensive plays. That's surprising, isn't it?
Well, and if you look at Canton for the season, though, and I don't see that it's going to change in the last 2 games. Canton's defense has scored points and has gotten a lot of turnovers and made greatly timed stops that have given the offense opportunity. Bullard, when we played Bullard, the first 2 series, interception, fumble. Brownsboro, they had there was a turnover early in the game, and then I think either their second or third, they had a punt that was snapped over
their head.
That's been like the 3rd or 4th time this season, isn't
That's
it?
the second one of those that we've had, and then we blocked one. So we've scored 3 times defending a punt. 2 was just a snap over the punter's head, and the other one we blocked and ran it in.
Right.
Yeah, this team has not gotten gashed against the run like Canton teams have in the years past. This team has stopped the run.
And I've Jacob and Massey, my son and the Massey kid, are both about between 6'1" and 6'2", and they both weigh 205 to 215 pounds. And then the 2 tackles, the Boswell kid's just got a mean streak.
I mean, he's all over the place.
He's the one that could get a 15-yarder, and it wouldn't. You could jump on him, get onto him, and I don't think it would bother him a bit. I mean, he's a great defensive tackle. He's got that mean mindset.
Junkyard dog.
And then the other 3 that rotate, there's Shep, Shepard, and there's one more, and I can't remember who it is. But, coming back next year, well, actually, we put a freshman in this last week.
Oh, yeah, Chisholm Wyckoff.
Chisholm Wyckoff.
Yeah.
And, next year it would probably be, and then I don't know who Riddle started this past week at defensive end.
Yeah.
And the Crow kids played, gotten quite a bit of playing time earlier in the season.
He will next year.
But the defensive line, and of course their whole scheme on defense is turn it in and let Kale.
He's a monster.
But, and I don't know, and I've looked at some of the stuff with Van. They've shown that they're okay without the quarterback. Javonte is.
Oh, he is the
Van.
man.
He's
is
Van.
the man. Yeah.
And I remember when we sat here at the very beginning of the season, everybody was astonished at how good he was. Now, if Javonte had a bad game, everybody would just be dumbfounded because every week he has stepped up. He hadn't had an off week yet.
He's not going to have a bad game because all you got to do is give it to him. He'll run it.
And he just gets stronger as the game goes on. But
is he getting any looks or
Lamar University, that's where he's going.
Okay. Offensive player?
Yes.
He's that perfect slot receiver size.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Straight A student in the classroom.
Lamar University. Wade Facklin, baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't think even since '89 they've ever done anything. Lamar University. They always talk about it. They recruit people.
Yeah.
I think Lamar was one of the 14 teams in what is now FCS. Is that right?
I don't know.
That
They
played.
keep changing that.
There's only Division 1 2A is what I used to
Yeah.
know. I think there's only 14 teams in Division 1 2A that kept playing, and I think they were one of them. There's Abilene Christian, SFA. I was thinking Lamar. Houston Baptist was playing. It's been kind of a weird season for all the college teams.
Bullard the other night, they had one less fan in the stands in the fourth quarter than they did at the start of the game. They had one escorted out.
Bullard did?
Yeah. There was one of the referees stopped the game after, I think it was after Van's last touchdown drive. And, kept waiting for the next kickoff and kept waiting and waiting. Well, what happened was the referee called for somebody to get security, and he pointed out a guy in the stands.
Did he get a penalty?
Oh, okay.
10, 9, 8,
We're going to start with Canton.
6, 5, 4, go.
Hello and welcome to Hump Day Huddle, your number one source for Van Zandt County football. I'm David Barber, Van Zandt News sports correspondent. Pleased to be joined as always by T.A. Hale from the Buzz Brothers, the counselor Joel Elliott, engineer Ken, and back with us tonight after a 2-week hiatus.
That's right.
Is the mayor and Queen Bee.
Welcome back, Mayor.
Everett. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us.
Good to be back.
All right. Well, I just want to say before we get started tonight that I am a lonely Van Vandal in a sea of Canton Eagles right here
Yay.
around this table.
You're safe here, David, okay?
Am I
You're
safe here?
You're safe.
Okay. Well, for those who don't know, and if you don't, where have you been? The Canton Eagles and the Van Vandals are renewing their rivalry. I believe it's since 2013 they have not played.
Oh.
Yes.
And so this will be a highly anticipated matchup, big district game at Vans Memorial Stadium Friday night. We're going to get into that in just a little bit. But first of all, let's talk about what these two teams did this past Friday night. The Canton Eagles, great homecoming victory, very impressive over the Brownsboro Bears. And guys, I know you want to share some information about that.
Well, I think you could say that the homecoming game, it was worth the wait. We got delayed. Should have been Ferris a month ago. Got delayed to Brownsboro, and the Eagles made it 42-0 on homecoming. Congratulations to Miss Shelby Wyckoff on her homecoming queen election. That was it was a great ceremony. The weather was beautiful. She was escorted by her two brothers, Chisholm Wyckoff, who is a freshman and was moved up to play on the varsity on Friday night and did get some playing time. And then her brother Garrett Wyckoff, who is a former Canton Eagle. So just a great night all around for all the girls. And so congratulations to Shelby Wyckoff. The Eagles made it 2 in a row against the Brownsboro Bears. Beat them last year, got them this year 42-0. And it was a game that it came down to turnovers in the first half. The turnover margin in the game was 3-1, and the Eagles had an interception, had a fumble recovery, and then they recovered well, not a fumble, but Brownsboro was punting. The snap was snapped over the punter's head, went into the end zone, and Grant Udisky fell on that for a Canton Eagle score. So the turnover margin, 3-1, Canton capitalized on all three of those, made them touchdowns. And so at the end of the first half, it was 21-0. I was telling Joel earlier, the Brownsboro Bears, they moved the ball some. They actually ran more plays than Canton did in the first half. The play count was 20-26, so Brownsboro moved the ball some. And then it was key at the end of the first half. The Bears had moved it all the way down, Joel, I think it was to about the 10-yard line. And keep in mind, the Eagles were getting the ball in the second half first. So Brownsboro got down to about the 10-yard line, 4th and 2, I believe, and the Eagles held them on 4th down. Ball turns over on downs, so Canton squashes the momentum there. And that was Brownsboro's chance to cut it to a 2-score game, and they knew Canton was getting the ball first in the third quarter, and that they hadn't been able to stop Canton. Big turning point in the game there, I felt like. First half, the Eagles had 178 yards to Brownsboro's 113. Brownsboro threw it 4 times in the first half, completed none. They don't throw the ball much. So then in the second half, the Eagles opened it up, scored another 21 points, and it was basically all Eagles in the second half. They ended the game with 427 total yards to Brownsboro's 254 yards. And again, the key was the turnovers. And I'll note we did all that without Cam Shaw and Jaden Brown, 2 key players on offense and defense here. And then I'll talk about some guys individually, and then Joel, you and I can talk about some things there. For the game, Christopher Cade, C.C. Ryder, good to have him back. He made a big difference, as he usually does. 12 carries for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. Let's see. Juan Robles carried the ball 8 times for 57 yards. And I'll say Robles, he came in after, I think, they let Chris come on out. C.C. Ryder rested him. And then Cameron Taylor, who backs up Chris, he plays linebacker also. So and he came up wobbly on one play, so they let him come on out, put Robles in. That sucker, he carried it 8 times for 57 yards. I thought it was more. But he proved that he is a very serviceable backup in terms of running the ball.
And I'll tell you, after the Bullard game, I almost said Ryder, Cade. CC was out, so we had Cam Shaw filling in for him.
Mm-hmm.
He got 1 series before his injury, and that's when we found out we need more backs in the stable.
Yeah.
So I think during our period off since the Bullard game, they've done some digging and searching, and Robles was the one who came up. And I liked watching him.
Yeah.
A lot of times the running backs, especially in a zone type blocking scheme, if they're now when you watch Cade run, he knows where he's going. He picks that spot and he hits it hard. And he's progressed over the years, and that's just how he runs. But some of the time it's easy for the back to kind of stutter step and pause. Robles didn't do that. He came in, he got the ball, and he was hitting the ground running. And I liked watching that because if something happens to Cade and if something happens to Shaw, I feel like we've got somebody who can plug in. Now, I know Taylor and Brown have been filling in, but personally I like the way that Robles ran that ball because he ran it, I guess the word we used to use is reckless abandon.
Yeah,
he just got it and
well described.
And just went with it. And it was, like you said, it looked like a lot more. He only carried the ball 8 times, but it seemed like he ran all over the field with it.
Every time yes, exactly. So some other individual stats here. Jabraylon Pickens, he caught 4 passes for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'll get to him some more later. Jet Baldwin got in there, caught 2 big passes, 1 for a touchdown. Good for Jet. And then Jason Brisboe, he was 15 of 23 with 3 touchdowns, 177 yards passing. And I'll just go ahead and touch on him. He has really progressed over the course of the year. If you break down the first 4 games of this year, he had 2 touchdowns. The last 3 games, he's had 7. And he's finding Jabraylon Pickens a lot. He's found some comfort there, some confidence in Jabraylon, and they've got something going there. His touchdown to interception ratio has improved vastly. The first 4 games, he had he had 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The last 3 games, 7 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. So he's really getting more effective, more efficient on offense. Brisboe is making a difference in the way Canton is performing. And I think he'll continue to get better. Let's see, Jabraylon Pickens. He's had 7 touchdowns in the last 4 games. He's had 8 on the year. And so think about this. He's had 23 receptions all year long. 8 of those are touchdowns. So every third pass, he scores a touchdown. That's all he does. You throw it to him, he scores a touchdown. And then finally, Chris Cade, he's averaging 170 yards per game. That's a little over 9 yards a carry. He has scored 13 touchdowns on the season, and he's just amazing. He's missed those 2 games. Other than that, he would have been on pace for about a 1,500-yard season easily. And then there's a couple of guys I want to mention too before I move on. Kale Shaw, he deserves some mention here. Kale he's the heart of that defense, and you mentioned it earlier, Joel. Kale Shaw he's a monster. I mean, he is sideline to sideline. He's like our enforcer. And sometimes statistics kind of escape the defensive side of the ball, but Kale Shaw he's making a huge impact. He's definitely the leader of that defense. And then we talked about Juan Robles earlier. For Jaden Brown, who has been injured for the past 2 games, Juan has had to come in and take that linebacker spot on the whole game, and he's done a great job of it. So a lot of the Eagles doing a great job. Let's see. Chanston Tootie Prox. He had 2 catches for 18 yards, but he is coming on as a playmaker. So some really good individual performances there by the Eagles. That's the Brownsboro Bears, guys. And now it's on to the Vandals.
And the Vandals went to Bullard last Friday night, a place that y'all are familiar with from a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was senior night at Bullard, their last home game of the season, so there was a lot of emotion in the stadium. They're primarily a senior team anyway. And so after, an extended pregame ceremony, we got the game kicked off. And interestingly enough, Van started the game with an onside kick and recovered it.
Oh.
So Van started with possession of the ball at the Bullard 40-yard line. Unfortunately, the drive was short because on 3rd down, Grant Lloyd, the backup quarterback who was filling in for Jackson Rainey was out with an illness. Grant Lloyd threw an interception on his first pass attempt. And so Bullard ran it back to Van's 41-yard line, and Bullard went on a long, sustained drive. Both teams suffered penalties in this first drive for Bullard. But anyway, they ended up driving as deep as the Van 17-yard line and ended up kicking a 33-yard field goal. So Bullard's up 3-0, 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. And then the Vandals and the Panthers exchanged punts before the Vandals got on the board with a long, sustained drive, primarily the work of Javante Thomas, who was playing the Wildcat quarterback position. And Javante scored 4 rushing touchdowns in the game. All 4 of Van's rushing touchdowns were scored by Javante.
Strong.
39 carries, 125 yards. So anyway, Van gets a touchdown to go up 7-3. Well, then Bullard muffs the ensuing kickoff, and Van recovers that. And so now Van's got the ball back at Bullard's 38-yard line, drive the ball down the field, score again, so now they're up 14-3. They maintained that 14-3 lead through halftime and appeared to have the game under control, but then special teams breakdown. Van gets a punt blocked. It's returned by Bullard for a touchdown. And
wow.
It's 14-10 with 7 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Okay.
Now Van gets the ball back after the kickoff, and in my opinion, and Coach Moffitt and I talked about this yesterday, I felt like this particular drive that I'm about to speak about may have been their most significant drive, not only of that game but of the season, because they're 14-10 after a block punt situation. They've got the ball with 7 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the third quarter, and Van proceeds to drive the ball 16 plays.
No, wait, Van's ahead, 14-10.
Van's ahead 14-10.
Okay.
But Bullard, with that block punt, they seem to be getting the momentum. Well, Van responds with a 16-play drive, 66 yards. 14 out of those 16 plays were running plays.
And how much time?
And it took the rest of the third quarter into the first play of the fourth quarter when they scored a touchdown. So they had the ball over 7 minutes,
Wow.
16 plays, 66 yards. And I think, in my opinion, that was the biggest drive they had this season.
Did they not throw it at all?
They threw twice in that drive with Grant Lloyd. And by the way, I'll say this for Grant Lloyd. After that first interception, he came back and played very well. He was 8 out of 13 for the night.
Okay.
Made a couple of big throws on third down to Luka Kochev, who has turned into a valuable receiver for the Vandals here in the last couple of weeks. So the Vandals were up 21-10. Bullard did respond. They came back, scored a touchdown and a 2-point conversion with about 10 minutes to go in the game. So now it's 21-18. Van again responds with a 53-yard drive in about 8 plays with you-know-who scoring a touchdown, Javonte Thomas. So Van is up 28-18, 6:50 to go in the game. Bullard did drive down, and Van's Blaine Chamness got an interception in the end zone to preserve that 10-point lead. And then the Vandals were pretty much able to run out the clock at that point. So big road win for the Vandals after a disappointing loss at home to Mejia.
Yeah.
I will say this for the Vans defense, talking about that one critical drive that they had offensively. Considering the importance of the game last Friday night at Bullard, this may have been Van's best overall defensive performance Friday night against Bullard. They held Bullard to 212 yards of total offense.
I was going to say that's their lowest output probably.
And I can tell you about 50 of those yards were late in the game. Yeah. When the game was already in hand.
And 18 points, that's as little as
and
as
really
Bullard
10
scored.
points is what the defense allowed because they got one touchdown on a block punt. So it was a great
Says
effort,
a lot.
great effort for the Vandals on the road at Bullard. And other than Javonte's numbers, let me tell you about a couple other guys that were making valuable contributions running the football the other night. 2 defensive starters stepped up and ran the ball well. Garrett Flory, who's a starting safety, he got 14 carries the other night for 77 yards. And Manny Moore, starting linebacker, also the punter for the Vandals, he had 5 carries for 44 yards. So it wasn't just Javonte in the running game, although he did dominate. These 2 guys stepped up and were good complementary backs the other night for the Vandals.
So they ran it 57 times.
Yeah, actually 58 times out of 71 offensive plays the other night. So they were very good, very efficient in their run game. Luka Kochev caught 5 passes for 77 yards. This young man is coming on. He's caught 15 passes the last 2 games. So he's getting hot at the right time. But now I can tell you, after talking to Coach Moffitt yesterday, he has nothing but tremendous respect for the job that Coach Hubble and the Canton Eagles have done this season. He said when you watch him on film, it's obviously play hard on every down offensively and defensively, but he says they are also executing well. And he said offensively they can beat you running and throwing the football, and he thinks that this is going to provide his defense with a tremendous test Friday night. He said this is going to be a 4-quarter war Friday night at Vans Memorial Stadium, and he's anticipating a very tight ball game Friday night.
I enjoyed your call-in Friday night to the other station. I sat in the truck and listened to it.
I did too.
And you said
made my wife listen.
You said how Coach Moffitt ended his locker room speech.
Yes,
Loved it.
One of those drop the mic moments, you know, when he was visiting with the team and congratulating them on their victory over Bullard, and then his last statement was, "Gentlemen, Canton Eagles next Friday night," turns around and walks off. And and as I told you guys earlier, I was in Van today, and if the fans I ran into today is any indication of what we're going to have Friday night, the fans for both teams are sure fired up and ready to go. I know the players and the coaches are as well.
Here's something interesting that a little fun fact.
Yeah.
The seniors on these two teams were in the 4th grade
Yeah,
the last time they played each other.
that's right. That's right. So they
That
probably
puts it in
played each other in
perspective.
pee-wee ball and
Yes.
things of that nature.
And the last time Canton beat Van, our seniors were in the 1st grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is one of those where you've heard about this rivalry, but they haven't lived it
At all.
But I think just the atmosphere from the two towns, I mean, right next door to each other, and they've played basketball against each other
Sure.
and things like that through all the years, and probably little dribblers and pee-wee baseball and all that kind of stuff. So they're close enough to and I mean, KD came from here and went. I mean, there's enough reasons for these towns to have the intertwined rivalry that's there. But it's good to see on a Friday night. We've been talking about it all year.
Yes.
And for it to be this important in this big of a game is great. I mean, we didn't
It is.
know, but it is going to be built up like you wanted it to.
And let's talk about the current district standings, because it's not just the Canton Van game Friday night that's big.
Yes.
It's Bullard at Mahia as well Friday night. So you want to go over those district standings real fast if you got them handy.
Yeah, I do. So you got Mahia at 2-0, Bullard at 2-1, and then Canton and Van both at 1-1. Then Brownsboro's 0-1. So there's still so much that can happen.
0-3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, 0-3. So there's still so much that can happen between 1st and 4th. Really, almost nothing is settled yet.
What'd you say, Joel, how many combinations we've got still left going into these last 2 weeks?
4 teams have the potential to win district, and if it's all these, if this happens and that happens, but all the teams except Brownsboro, there's a scenario where they could win district. And Van and Brownsboro are the only 2 teams that could potentially now miss the playoffs. Everybody's got a spot in the playoffs now, except for Van and Brownsboro. And Brownsboro's off Friday night, so Brownsboro's only chance to make the playoffs is against Van. And this is what's funny about right now. I haven't found a single person from Van who thinks Canton is any good. We're going to kill them. It's going to be bad. But I promise you, if Mahia beats Bullard and Van beats Canton, next Friday night, every Vandal will be waving the Canton celebratory "We're on your side"
That's
flag,
right.
because that would give Van the district championship. So there's just so many scenarios. Of course, if Bullard beats Mahia and Canton beats Van, Bullard's the district champ. I mean, there's just so many. And then if Mahia wins out, then they win it. I mean, it's just, there's so many different scenarios. And it's one of those things where if we had an 8-team district or even a 6-team district, there's going to be certain things that we know by now. Having a 5-team district, there's still a lot of balls up in the air being juggled.
It doesn't sort itself out until the very end.
Till the end.
And let me just say before we go to break, Jackson Rainey, quarterback for the Vandals, back this week. He did not make the trip to Bullard because of illness last week. Alex Kiefer, the kicker, reserve running back, he did not make the trip to Bullard as well. He tested negative, but he's still sick. So there's still some question as to what's wrong with him and if he'll be ready to go Friday night. As of this time, he's still listed as questionable. And Adrian Cortez hurt his shoulder Friday night against Bullard, defensive lineman, senior. Did not return to the game. Coach Moffitt told me yesterday he's listed as questionable, but he said it's senior night, Friday night, and we're playing Canton. He'll be out there.
He's going to be out there.
He'll be out there. All right. Guys, great. It's going to be a great game Friday night.
Yes, it
Give
is.
us your broadcast schedule.
Broadcast schedule, pregame 7:15, on air, kickoff 7:30.
Okay. All right. This is the game. All right, it's time to go to the Queen Bee and the mayor to fill us in on our Friday night broadcast sponsors.
Game day sponsors. First down sponsor is Gary's Car Wash. Don't you drive around in a dirty car. You can clean up your act at Gary's between the Veterans Memorial and the fire station on South Highway 19. That's in Canton. Tell Gary thanks for sponsoring high school football on the V. A lot of times he's out at the car wash, so you can tell him. And for that perfect gift, do not forget that the registry is run by Gary's wife, and it's located right next to Ace Hardware in Canton.
Marcelin will fix you up. If
Yeah.
you don't know what to get someone for like a wedding
Marcelin will
shower or
fix you
something,
up.
you just go over there. Say, Marcelin, I don't know what to do, and she'll just fix you up.
And if you guys are in trouble, you know,
Right.
Yes.
Marcelin will
Good
take
call,
care of
Mayor.
it.
Good call.
Absolutely. I just want you to know it's not just a girl-only place. All right, Timeouts is sponsored by Elliott Law Firm. Joel Elliott at the Elliott Firm in Canton, providing everything from family or criminal law to personal injury and everything in between. Joel works to protect the best interest of his clients with ethics, courtesy, and caring personal attention. Find them at elliottLawFirmPC.com. First quarter sponsor is Hall Chevrolet Buick GMC. Go by and see Monty Hall for your best deal on cars, SUVs, and work trucks at Hall Chevrolet Buick GMC in Canton, just west of the square on Highway 64. You can find them online at hallbuickgmc.com. Second quarter sponsor is Slide and Bounce, full service, family owned inflatable and party rental company serving East Texas. From inflatable bounce houses to water slides, Slide and Bounce has it all. Find them online at snbrentals.com. Third quarter sponsor is Elevate Student Success in Canton. Elevate Student Success offers homework help for 1st through 12th grades 2 nights a week with specialized services for students with dyslexia, ADHD, and processing problems. ElevateStudentSuccess.com is where you'll find them online, or you can call them at 1-800-867-7602, and they're right across the street from Canton Elementary School at 1164 South Buffalo.
They go up to grade 12, but there's no age limit.
Oh, no.
No, there's no age limit. So, like, if I need to go sign up over there for, like, processing problems, or that's not even the worst of my problems, you can go over there. It's there. There's no age limit.
You sound like somebody with personal experience to know all of that.
He may be attending now, for all we know.
I might be enrolled now.
Well, let's see, you did hand me the ads to read, so.
That's right.
Fourth quarter sponsor, again, is Hall Chevrolet Buick GMC. So go by and see Monty Hall. Find them online at hallbuickgmc.com. Then we have Bob Collision for Collision of the Week. And, guys, you haven't mentioned who is the Collision of the Week winner.
By the way,
last
your
week.
nominee last week got a lot of reaction.
We'll do that for you.
My nominee.
You had a nominee last week for Collision of the Week.
I did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you told me, you sent me a text message last week.
You don't remember it, do you?
I do
remember
not.
it.
I do not.
On the same night that we were here last week, you were in a meeting somewhere.
And you nominated the Canton City Council meeting.
Oh, that's right.
That's
I
right.
did forget about
yes,
it.
as the Collision of the Week,
Yeah,
which
that's-
got a lot of response.
Absolutely, and that collision lasted several days, but we're back tootling down the road again. So it's a
right.
good thing I had on my seat belt and the elastic in my panties tied. So we're good. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, my
So
wi-
who is the collision of the week for this week?
Oh, man, we announced it at the game, and I can't remember now who the Bob's Collision of the Week was.
Well, it'll probably come to you before I get through it.
In May. I'm going to think
All right,
about it.
Bob's Collision.
Robles.
They're
Robles.
Probably Robles, yeah.
Robles? All right. He's located on West Highway 64, about halfway between downtown Canton and Myrtle Springs. And then we have our Platinum Season sponsors, the Silver Spur Resort. Of course, that's where we are tonight. Don't forget they have a wedding venue, a KOA campground, Q and Brew restaurant, escape room, and more. The Silver Spur is located on 35 beautiful acres, just minutes from First Monday Trades Day. And their bed and breakfast, called Durham's Roost, is now open from Thursday to Monday to host vendors and guests of the Trades Day. They're on Highway 19, about, 3/4 of a mile north of Interstate 20. Then we have Wills Point Ford, Wills Point Chevrolet, the only locally owned car dealership servicing Van Zandt County and beyond for over 30 years. Whether you're looking for a Ford or a Chevy, Wills Point Ford, Wills Point Chevrolet invites you to come do business with their family. Then we have First State Bank Ben Wheeler, a true Texas community bank owned and operated since 1911. Their mission is to always provide superior service because this is home, and home is where we strive to make a difference. And I always have to say, hello, Randall. Brookshire's. For quality, convenience, and service, visit your local Brookshire's in Wills Point, Grand Sling, Van, or Canton. They have low-priced produce, hand-cut meat, and easy meal solutions. Check out their online shopping, curbside pickup, and drive-through prescription services are just some of the great services they offer their customers every day. And last but not least, all-around AC, heating, and refrigeration. And I think a little heating is probably going to feel good tonight. Family owned with a satisfaction guarantee and flat rate pricing. All Around AC has a reputation for integrity unmatched in East Texas. You'll find them online at allaroundac.com. And I'll give it back to you, Mr. Barber.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mayor.
You bet.
Queen Bee, we're going to recognize some more of our sponsors. Hump Day Huddle is brought to you by City National Bank with 3 locations in Van Zandt County, Wills Point, Grand Saline, and Canton. Wills Point 903-873-4157, Grand Saline 903-962-7588, and Canton is 903-567-9100. We're brought to you by Ramsey's Roadhouse, Angus Burgers, Steak, Specialty Hot Wings, 903-560-8214, located at 505 North 4th Street in Wills Point. We're brought to you by Robertson Electric, commercial and residential air conditioning and heating service, free estimates. Wills Point and Terrell. Wills Point is 903-873-2461. Terrell, 972-563-5254. We're brought to you by Austin Bank, member FDIC, with branch locations in Van and Grand Saline. We're brought to you by Express Tire and Wheels. New and used tires, custom wheels, flat repairs, 903-873-8856. Located at 732 Houston Street in Wills Point. We're brought to you by the Rick John State Farm Insurance Agency at 100 North 4th Street in Wills Point, 903-873-2858, auto, home, life, and health. We're brought to you by Van Zandt Farm and Ranch, located at 118 East Main Street in Van, 903-963-3651. They have feed for horses, dogs, cattle, chicken, wild bird, pig, fish. They also have gardening items, seeds and fertilizers, organic feeds available. And we're brought to you by Wills Point Chevrolet, 903-873-2561, located at 660 Houston Street in Wills Point. I'm David Barber, Van Zandt News Sports Correspondent, joined by T.A. Hale from the Buzz Brothers, the Counselor Joel Elliott, Engineer Ken, and the Mayor and Queen Bee, Lou Ann Everett. And, gentlemen, let's move on to talk some more about other Van Zandt County teams. The Edgewood Bulldogs had a big home win Friday night and kept them right in the middle of the district race. T.A., I think you have some information to share with us about that.
I certainly do. They had the Rice Bulldogs, I think it is, came to town. And so Edgewood at 2-2 was taking on the 3-0 Rice Bulldogs. I think they're the Bulldogs. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I think we looked at that
last week. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Edgewood's in a situation where they have got to keep on winning in order to stay in the playoff hunt. And really, it's more about seeding. Really, to try and avoid that 4th spot, they've got to keep on winning. And as we know, earlier in the district season, Rice pulled off a big upset against Palmer. And so Rice is a tough opponent. That was a good game, David. You are right. It came down to the very end. And I'll just kind of sum up the way it happened. It was back and forth, and the game was close the entire game. Not a real high-scoring game, but with 4 minutes left, Rice scored to make it 24-20. And so Edgewood's down 4 at their place. They've got to put together a drive and score, and they put together a drive. get down to about the 25-yard line. There are about 40 seconds left in the ball game, and sophomore quarterback Hayden Wilcoxon connects with sophomore wide receiver A.C. Watson and his people are here. He's got his cheering section here. And A.C. Watson made what I hear was a fantastic catch. Took a big hit and hung on to it. And so the Bulldogs took, after the extra point, took a 27-24 lead with 39 seconds left. And held Rice to go on to win. But we have an audio clip of the play that I just described, and I'll set the scene here. This is Eric James, Paul Cates, and Brian Nichols, all my friends from Edgewood Bulldog Radio, and they were kind enough to send a clip. So here is the audio of the touchdown score in Edgewood Friday night.
If they run that coverage again, look, what I like to do here, I run a wheel with Hudson on the sidelines, and this outside guy to the middle of the field post should be
Three
wide
receivers
open.
right, empty back set. Wilcoxon straight drop. Flush right. Go. Wilcoxon fires into the end zone. Caught by Watson. Touchdown, Edgewood.
What a catch. Unbelievable catch. Unbelievable. Just a mighty joke.
A.C. Watson took a shot about 1 yard deep in the end zone, managed to hang on to the football. Edgewood back on top, 39 seconds left.
Hayden said, I know that kid. I've been throwing to him since we were in the 7th grade. Sophomore to sophomore, what a big play and a big time of a game.
All right.
I think that's the collision of the week.
That was great. I tell you, the guys at Edgewood Bulldog Radio, they do a great job. And so the Bulldogs hung on to win that one. They got to keep winning. Also, Hudson Tyner had a big game at wide receiver Friday night, as did Jaden Eli. The Bulldogs actually came into that game shorthanded. Their starting running back was out, Turner Taylor, I believe. And so they do expect to get him back. They take on Mildred. They go to Mildred this week, and they cannot overlook them. Mildred is coming off a bye week, but the week before that they played Rice really tough. Scored, I think, 42, lost 52-42 to Rice. And so Mildred is not out of it, so they're motivated. This is their senior night, so they will come ready to play. The Bulldogs are going to have to go in there and fight this one out and get them a win so that they can keep the seeding where they need it.
And this is Edgewood's final regular season game because their open date is next week, so Edgewood will be playing their 10th consecutive week without a break.
Right.
This Friday night.
And
so here's what
on that replay, and I may be putting this timing in wrong. That was sophomore to sophomore, right?
Yes, it was.
Correct.
So this is an ongoing thing. Edgewood's going to be doing nothing but the next 2 years of getting better.
That's right,
so
man. They've got a lot of sophomores,
that's
a lot of young
be
players.
exciting for you guys.
Just got a text message from a friend of mine who's listening and thoroughly enjoyed that call by the Edgewood Bulldog Radio.
You know, I like to take a little bit of credit for Edgewood Bulldog Radio. Eric and Paul helped me do a broadcast about 5 years ago. And after the game was over, I could tell they were hooked. And so next thing you know, they put together an internet station, and they are doing a fantastic job over there. The people in Edgewood are lucky to have them. They are so fun to listen to, and they love the Bulldogs so much. And so they are doing a great job there. The best I can tell here is Edgewood is sitting there at 3-2. Palmer, I'm counting Palmer's first place in that district. I'm going to say that's done. Okay, so you got Blooming Grove at 3-1. Blooming Grove has Gateway this week and Rice next week. Then you got Rice sitting there at 3-1, who Edgewood has the tiebreaker over. They're 3-1. They got Scurry next week and Blooming Grove the following week. Edgewood, as you know, has Mildred this week. So if Blooming Grove beats Rice will then be, and let's assume Rice beats Scurry this week. That will put Rice at 4-2. Edgewood, if they beat Mildred this week, that puts them at 4-2. Those two will be tied, and Edgewood has the tiebreaker over Rice. So I believe that would put Edgewood in the third spot, Blooming Grove second, and Palmer first. I think that's how it would shake out. but there's a lot of different possibilities there. And Eric even told me that even if they lose this week to Mildred, even though it's their bye week next week, they're still going to practice.
Oh,
because there's so many scenarios where they would still get in. They're just going to practice like it's a normal week. And so Coach Bachtel has already declared that.
Okay.
So we just wish our people over there in Bulldog land the very best.
Great call.
Yes, it
Edgewood
is.
Bulldog
Great
Radio.
call.
That was a great call. Let's talk about the Fruitvale Bobcats. Unfortunately for them, they did not have a very good night over at Leverage Chapel. They lost by the final score 51-6. Tough night for the Bobcats overall. Offensively, they did not have very many successful plays. And so it puts Fruitvale in a real bind because they have to have two things happen, I understand, to make the playoffs. And neither one of them look very good at this point. First of all, they'll have to upset the 10th-ranked team in the state in class in six-man football, Union Hill. They will get them at home. Fruitvale's last regular season game, last home game, but they have to beat Union Hill. Plus, Leverage Chapel has to lose to Campbell, and Campbell has not won a game this season. So
you're telling me it's a long shot?
I'm saying it's a long shot for either one to happen, much less both of them to happen. But it's a tough way for Fruitvale to end if it is the end of their season after Friday night. But they will be at home against Union Hill, a top 10 team in the state, and a tremendous challenge for the Bobcats. We certainly wish them well.
Well, you still call their season.
They got three victories.
Right, more than last year.
Exactly.
That's progression.
Right. So I think they're moving on up. They'll be okay in coming years. But certainly wish them well this week against Union Hill. All right, it's time to talk about some more of our sponsors, and we want to say that Hump Day Huddle is brought to you by Wills Point Ford. What matters to you matters to us. 618 Houston Street in Wills Point, 903-873-2511. We're brought to you by Legacy Ag Credit, financing your legacy, financing for rural land, country homes, operating capital, farms and ranches, livestock and equipment, 903-567-2251. We're brought to you by Exit Realty Pro, 1445 South Buffalo in Canton, 903-567-7777. We're brought to you by Higginbotham Brothers, located at 221 Texas Highway 243 in Canton, 903-567-4077, your Ace Hardware dealer in Canton. We're brought to you by Stone Age, Dennis Chitty at 972-567-5224. His office is located at 206 Garvin Street in Garland, Texas. We're brought to you by M Squared Management, Property Management and Rentals, 1435 South Buffalo Street in Canton, 903-502-0202. We're brought to you by Taylor Automotive at 27928 Highway 64 in Canton, 903-567-3948. And we're brought to you by the Legacy Dental Group, family dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, oral surgery, orthodontics, sedation dentistry. They're located at 240 East Highway 243 in Canton, 903-508-2923. I'm David Barber, Van Zant News sports correspondent, joined by T.A. Hale from the Buzz Brothers, the counselor Joel Elliott, engineer Ken, the mayor and Queen Bee, Luann Everett. And we've got two more teams that we need to talk about. And gentlemen, we've got Wills Point and Grants Lean to discuss. Which direction do you want to go right now?
I'll start with Grants Lean. And Coach Drennan, he's had the two wins in district against the two teams that they were supposed to beat.
And handled them well.
And handled them just like they were supposed to. They have West Rusk this week. This week and next week are both going to be hard. And for them to make the playoffs, they're going to have a good showing both weeks. So all that said, West Rusk is doing well this season. If you go on your Friday Night Lights and look, the predictions are not in Grants Lean's favor. However, the two games that they've won have been at home. They do have a good fan turnout. They seem to do better at home, so hopefully they'll have a better shot
And it's senior
You never
night.
know.
It's senior night. It's the last home game. These kids won't be there. The seniors won't be able to come back and play there regardless of how all this plays out this season. I hadn't talked to Coach Drennan. I have talked to some of the other parents over there. I don't believe that injuries are an issue right now. Not sure about West Rusk, but I know that West Rusk has done fairly well this season. So that's it for Grand Saline. Now, Wills Point, Coach Porter and I have played phone tag. And God bless him, he doesn't have a lot of time to get his head up above water to breathe right now. Before we meet again, Wills Point will have played 2 games.
Yes.
First one being tomorrow night.
But let me say this, if I may. First of all, let's remind everyone where we are. We're at the Q and Brew Restaurant, Silver Spur Resort, a half-mile north of Interstate 20 on Highway 19 in Canton. And we say all that to say this. Wills Point is about to play Wednesday night football and Monday night football in their next 2 games. So if you're listening to the live broadcast right now, we're talking about a game that's going to be played tomorrow night. If you're listening to one of our replays, which you can hear at noon and 5 p.m. on Wednesdays on KWJB, you may be on your way to Sunnyvale to the game as you're listening to us. So I'm sorry, Joel, didn't mean to interrupt, but let's talk about Wills Point's Wednesday night trip to Sunnyvale first.
So looking at their schedule, of course, and before we even do that, let's go back to last week. Last week they were playing Farmersville. That was a game that I told y'all all last week. I expected Wills Point to win. I think Wills Point expected to win that game. They have to have another district win, and they play Sunnyvale, which Sunnyvale only has two wins this season.
Yeah.
Now Sunnyvale's had a pretty decent schedule this year, and from what I understand, they're still a pretty good football team, even though they've only had the 2 wins.
Traditionally, they have been.
Traditionally, and even when we had some exposure to them last year, even though we didn't play them. But so this is going to be a tough game. And then on Monday night, 5 days later, they're playing Caddo Mills in Wills Point. And Caddo Mills hadn't lost a game, and I'm not sure that anybody's played them closer than Canton did, and we lost by 10. So in the next 7 nights, there's going to be 2 games. I'm hoping that next Monday night that I'll get an opportunity to actually go watch Wills Point over in Wills Point. So they've got to get the 2 wins to get there. I think that Sunnyvale is probably their best chance, and then they play Community the Saturday, 2 Saturdays from now. So in less than, I guess that would be, 11 days?
Right.
There's 3 games.
3 games, yeah. 2 on the road.
And 2 on the road. I mean, this is a basketball schedule you wouldn't want to play.
Right.
And just the one thing I know that when I talk to Coach Pointer that is, of course, he's younger than us, and the medical concerns and the conditioning and just the load management, I think, were the words that he used. They're having to focus on all those things to keep the kids healthy because they still have to practice. You still have to have contact. You still have to prepare for your opponent. So they're doing all of these things, and on top of that, these kids are going to class in the middle of all this. So with all of that going on, and it's the whole district. I mean, they're all playing these crazy schedules. So, like we'd said earlier, whoever wins this district has done an incredible job, but all of them are doing this.
Yes.
And he keeps saying, and I think that where we're really going to see an impact, and this is just one district that this has happened to, and there's been forfeits, or not necessarily forfeits. There's been no contest. There's other districts where you have forfeits. In the Grand Saline district, Quitman had a forfeit against Harmony. Of course, we've joked about that. Sometimes a forfeit might keep people healthier when you're playing a Harmony for Quitman. But I think that what Wills Point is going through, all of us are going to be exposed to a lot more over the next few weeks because there are no rescheduling of playoff games, and in 2 weeks from right now, if we're still doing anything here, we're talking about playoff games. And if we're not here, everybody else is talking about playoff games. And at that point, there's no rescheduling. There's no retooling. And just like Coach Pointer said, since all this started, the madness of rescheduling has started for them. There's no playbook for this. So up until this point, the next time we come and meet and sit down here and talk again, I'll be discussing 2 different games that Wills Point has played.
Right.
And that's a first. You know, I'm not sure how long the Hump Day Huddle's been going, but I know that this hasn't happened where any team has had 2 games between the shows.
Yeah.
So, you know, my hat's off to Coach Pointer. You know, I grew up with a coach. It's a crazy job in the fall anyway. You know, my wife used to say that it was kind of like the pause. You know, you just know it's football season. That's what the coach does. Now, with what they're going through right now, I don't know how he remembers which day of the week it is. You know, and on top of all that, a week ago yesterday, was their first day back at practice after having a 10-day pause where they didn't have any school or anything. And they were having to work out at home and do their meetings virtually. So just everything that they've gone through has been a challenge for all of them in that district. But on top of that, you know, Coach Pointer, this is his first year there. He didn't get a spring with his team like he wanted. In fact, when he was talking to me earlier about the things that they did this spring, he was using experience that he had from I believe it was in Denton, before he came to Wills Point, which was how they used that app, and I can't remember the name of the app that they had been using.
You told us last time. I can't remember the name.
But it's just it's been a challenge for all of them. My hat's off to him, and if they can get this win against Sunnyvale, I'm going to go watch them play Caddo. That would be a crazy sight if they were able to pull that off against Caddo. But they need a couple of wins to get a shot for the playoffs. So hats off to him for what he's doing, and good luck to all the Tigers over there.
Right.
Look at the 4 of the 6 teams in Van Zandt County. We've had 4 new coaches, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Pointer, Blackwell, Hubble, and then the Fruitvale coach. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So.
And Drennan.
Well, but I mean just in our county. Just in our county.
I'm talking about, did you say Grant Saline?
Oh, Drennan's Grand Slam. I said Blackwell. That's Mineola. Okay,
okay.
Drennan.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Okay, yeah.
Trent Taylor at Fruitvale.
Yes.
Coach Taylor. All those 4 guys have come in and had to face this, installing a new offense, meeting the kids for the first time, getting used to just the environment and how things work, and that is just, well, like you said, there's no playbook for it, and so when this season's over, they will look back and say, I'm glad that's over. And that's about it.
That's
now let's get back to some regular football next year.
Right.
So I can prepare.
Exactly. All right, guys, we're going to come back after one more round of sponsors we need to recognize, and we're going to talk about the infamous Vegas odds from last week and this week, and then we might have to say something about how a certain football game came out and how the presidential race could end up turning out.
Yes,
so,
we got to do that.
But first of all, we want to recognize and thank our sponsors on Hump Day Huddle. Canton Guns and Ammo, located at 1190 Tradesday Boulevard in Canton, 903-502-5023. We're brought to you by Hall Chevrolet Buick GMC in Canton, 903-567-4106. We're brought to you by Dean Kubota. Locations in Wills Point and Forney. Wills Point is 903-873-2451. Forney is 972-552-3151. And we're brought to you by City Barbershop at 101 North 4th Street in Wills Point, 903-873-2977. And we're brought to you by Southern Serenity Day Spa at 11020 North Commerce Street in Wills Point, 903-873-7133. I'm David Barber, Van Zandt News sports correspondent, joined by T.A. Hale from the Buzz Brothers, the counselor Joel Elliott, engineer Ken, the mayor and Queen Bee, Lou Ann Everett. We're about to wrap up another show for this week, but first we've got some house cleaning duties to take care of, and one of those, as always, we really look forward to hearing is the Vegas odds from last week and for this week.
Okay, so I've consulted with my connections in Vegas, and they're keenly interested in what's going on in Van Zandt County.
Right.
So they've got these odds, and let's see how they did last week. So Canton versus Brownsboro, they had predicted Canton wins that one 24-9, and they were right. 42-0 Canton.
Right.
So, Van at Bullard. The prediction was 20-10 Van. Correct again.
They got the point differential.
Got the point differential correct. That's right. 28-18 was the final there in Bullard.
Yeah.
Wills Point at Farmersville. The projection on that one was 14-6 in favor of Farmersville. Farmersville won that one 48-21. So they got that one right also. Edgewood versus Rice. Prediction was 16-13 in favor of Edgewood, and Edgewood won it 27-24. Point differential correct again on that one. So the Vegas handicappers were spot on in week 9. 100%. 100%.
Here's my question for you.
Okay.
And this is the question that everybody paying attention right now wants to know.
Okay.
What is the protection? What is the prediction for the Van Canton game?
He's getting to that.
Well, okay, I'm going to get to that.
He's getting to that.
The computer broke.
Engineer Ken is trying to stir things up.
He
You
is.
realize that. And he's trying to stir things up here.
Yeah, and he's looking right at me.
All right, so let's move on to Week 10 and see what the predictions are. We got Wills Point at Sunnyvale.
So you're going to save that one to the last.
Yes, that's a tease.
That's a tease.
Tease.
Wills Point at Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale is favored to win that one. They got 56-0. That's just the computer models doing that, though. They're not always right. They're not always right about that. So Sunnyvale favored in that one. Canton at Van. And Van is favored in that one by a score of 25-3. So a wide margin. Same margin that the Cowboys lost by this week. That's a little lead into what we're going to do in a minute. 25-3.
Yeah.
Okay. So Van favored in that one. Edgewood at Mildred. They've got Edgewood favored by a score of 22-9. And then Grand Saline hosts West Rusk, and West Rusk favored in that one 35-0. So there are your odds. Place your bets.
Do you smell an upset?
Well, Engineer Ken, I'm just an unbiased
Yeah,
broadcaster slash
we're all completely
knucklehead.
unbiased.
You don't smell anything there.
No, I don't smell anything right now. No, I don't smell anything. Everyone smells fine to me.
I want everybody in Van to feel so secure.
Well, not everybody in Van does. I
Y'all,
can tell you
y'all
that
don't
right
need to be
now.
worried about Canton. Right now, Van needs to be focusing on Pleasant Grove. Just don't worry about this week. Just don't even worry about this week.
Oh, my. Okay.
So just don't worry about this week.
Counselor knows what he's talking about. He's a former college football player. He
Remember,
knows something.
Mayor, when I said that Vandals and Eagles can coexist? I'm really starting to question that right now.
Engineer Ken, see what you did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got to go.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! Now, before we sign off, and sounds like we better sign off pretty quick. But Mayor, you may not have heard last week what we discussed about the correlation between the Dallas-Washington game and the presidential election. Okay, I don't think she's on the air right now.
We can't hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we
I
go.
got you.
You
There we
did
go.
not hear that,
I did
Cora.
not hear that. No, I
Okay,
did
well,
not.
this has been going on since 1937. This has held true for 17 out of the last 19 presidential elections.
Okay.
That when Washington wins their last home game before Election Day, which last Sunday was their last home game before Election Day, when Washington wins their last home game before Election Day, the party in control of the White House stays in for another 4 years.
So you're talking about the incumbent. It looks like will stay in the White House. He won't have to move.
And if Washington loses their last home game before Election Day, the opposite party wins. So based on what happened, and for those of you who don't know, Washington kind of thumped the Cowboys.
No kind of about it.
Yeah. And so that means that Mr. Trump's going to win re-election based on that. And I know that you have duties to take care of next Tuesday on Election Day, so
Actually,
I just want to tell you if you
I have been kicked off as
Oh, okay.
judge. So I will be at the Canton Herald.
Okay.
Be sure to order extra pizza for me.
Well, okay. Yes, that's right. But that's after Hump Day Huddle.
Absolutely.
After Hump Day Huddle next
Judging-
Tuesday night.
Judging from the effort the Cowboys gave, especially their defense on Sunday, it looked like they really wanted the Republicans to retain the White House.
They were rooting for it.
Right.
And I will say this: during the Cowboys game, I got a text from one of my friends, and when what's his name? The quarterback got his concussion.
Oh, Andy
Andy
Dalton.
Andy Dalton got his concussion, and they brought in
DiNucci.
DiNucci from James Madison University.
And he said, I wonder who the third string quarterback is. And I said, this is him.
Yeah, this
and he meant, no, this game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who it would have.
It would have been Blake Bell,
Blake Bell, the backup tight end.
the
Who
Belldozer.
Played quarterback at Oklahoma.
It's.
Could have been. It
But-
could have come down to that.
But on a positive note, we are in the worst league in the NFL. So
Worst
anything
division.
can happen.
Yep.
Worst division, yeah. Worst
The
division. in the
Cowboys
NFL.
going to Philadelphia Sunday night with a third string quarterback.
Hide the women and children.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's time to wrap things up. Let's go over our schedule real quick for Friday night. We got, Friday night. It starts tomorrow night, Wednesday night. If you're listening on the replay, you're on your way to the game anyway. But Wills Point is at Sunnyvale for Wednesday night football, and then they're home Monday night for Monday night football against Cattle Mills.
That is bonus football right
Bonus
there.
football
Bonus
for the
football.
Wills Point Tigers. So we also have Edgewood traveling to Mildred Friday night. We have Fruitvale at home against Union Hill Friday night. We also have another game that we need to talk about real quick. Two Van Zandt County rivals meeting for the first time since 2013 at Vans Memorial Stadium Friday night. The Canton Eagles versus the Van Vandals. And the only thing I'm going to say that I really regret about this Friday night is due to coronavirus protocols, we will not be able to have a full stadium.
Yeah.
And that game really calls for a full stadium Friday night.
It does.
That's
but
true.
you know where they can watch.
Absolutely.
KWJB Facebook page.
That's exactly
or on
right.
Dish.
That's right.
That's right. And broadcast time will be?
It will be pregame 7:15, kickoff 7:30, and I'm counting on Engineer Ken getting us a really good spot in the press box. I think
tell
that's
you-
already been secured.
I'll tell you afterwards where you're going to be.
Okay, David, the godfather of East Texas football, he's got us.
You know he's hanging us out to dry. Just saying. He's a
He
vandal at home.
he'll take care of his brethren here.
You'll get what's coming to you, that's for sure.
Well, and I'll tell you this.
I don't want that.
David, it is a great thing to be friends for 364 days a year.
It is. It is.
It is a
And
great
we're really
thing.
pushing it for that 365. I can tell you that right now. All right.
And this is leap year, so
That-
you really.
okay.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
I've got
yes.
family in Van. I mean, I'm just.
And you got to remember, I was raised to hate Van because I lived in Canton all my life.
So you're blaming it on your raisins.
I was
Sure.
raised to hate Van too,
Yeah.
and I was raised in Grant Saline.
Bring me out of the pasture, TA. Thanks for all this. I'm just saying.
I'll have to ask you about something happened at the Grand Saline Stadium one night.
Yeah. Well, okay. Are we
Van.
done, Engineer Ken?
We all love
We
each
better
other.
be.
We love
We
each
better
other.
be.
We love each other.
You can join us in our part of the booth on that game and be with the Buzz.
Yeah, don't act like you don't know us, David.
I
Now,
will,
just
I will, you know, my services go to the highest bidder for Friday night.
What?
When you get out of here, take it home.
The price of oil is down. Canton's doing better now.
Tell the unnamed people, beat that.
Okay, beat that. That's right. All right, one other item of business, serious business. Folks, vote.
Yes.
Early
Yes.
voting continues through Friday. We've had an incredible turnout for early voting in Van Zandt County. Early voting goes on through Friday. If you miss early voting, Election Day is Tuesday. Go out and maintain your right to gripe.
That's right.
And so
Do you happen to have numbers? for
we're over
t-
10,000
Over
on
10,000.
early voting last
And there are approximately 33,000 registered voters in Van Zandt County.
correct.
So we're a third
Correct.
there.
Yep. All right. Thank you all for being here. We look forward to a great night of football Friday night at Van Memorial Stadium. But for now, You have been watching Hump Day Huddle. We thank the staff of Q and Brew for always taking good care of us each and every week. For Engineer Ken, the Mayor and Queen Bee, Lou Ann Everett, Counselor Joel Elliott, T.A. Hell from the Buzz Brothers. You know I love y'all.
We love you, David.
We love you, David.
And I'm David Barber. Thank you very much for joining us. And we always like to end by saying that you have been listening to Hump Day Huddle on the Beat.